Hi guys, Hari here, doing another first-person VOD. Last time I did CM, people requested to have the bans and picks, so I'm just going to leave it on this screen for a few seconds before I actually get into the VOD. I'm not captaining here. This is a scrim, and I'm standing in for some team. I mean, this is a low-level scrim. Well, not low-level, I mean, but not pro or semi-pro even. And yeah, I'm just playing as a stand-in, so I didn't captain, so there's really no reason for me to go through the picks and bans. I would be happy to do that sometime in which I actually captain if enough people want to see that. It would be kind of long, because obviously it takes like 10 minutes to do, but if that is something you're interested in, just let me know. But anyway, I think this should be basically enough time for you guys to have seen these picks and bans, so I'm just going to fast forward into the actual game now. In this game, I will be playing Naga Siren. Yeah, I think this is like the second time I've actually played Naga, basically ever, because I never really played her since she was changed much in Dota 1. Let's see, player perspective, I'm on myself, and yeah, so I never really played her much in Dota 1 after she was changed, because I wasn't really playing Dota 1 anymore at that point. Yeah, I'm sure this isn't very interesting. I'm just going to fast forward through to when we actually get to the game. But yeah, and so I think I've played her like 2 other times, maybe 1 other time in Dota 2. So anyway, we'll see how that goes, and yeah. Let's see. Starting items. Basically, figured I would go for an early Ring of Aquila, so I just went with a slippers and a circlet just to turn into the Aquila quickly, and then basically just a bunch of regen. Wasn't really sure what exactly the lane would be we were up against. Let's see, looking at what they have, well actually yeah, I'm pretty certain that what it would be would most likely be the Beastmaster in the long lane. I was predicting that based on the fact that they have, I mean, why else would you pick Sven as a carry unless you were, I mean, roaming Sven is okay, and actually we see the Beastmaster here. Roaming Sven is okay, but carry Sven you pretty much only ever do if you plan on stacking Ancients, and Beastmaster is the perfect Ancient stacking hero, so if you'll see our Enchantress is actually going down there to block the Ancient camp right now with a ward. So that is why actually we would expect to have the Beastmaster top. Beastmaster I'm not really expecting to get any kills, you can play pretty safe with that hero. Yeah, just pinging that he's going to place a ward right there. I mean, obviously you can see I click on him and click to see that he has wards, and then he loses one right as he goes there in our vision, so it's pretty clear that there is a ward placed there. Here there's gonna be, I mean, if you know, like, it's good to place your sentry ward on the ground like that in between 2 spots when you don't know where it is, but if you know exactly where the ward was placed, you can just place it on top of it so that you have vision, because here you can see they actually don't have vision. Eventually they figure out, oh, okay, well the Sand King will go up on the cliff and give vision, while the Enchantress will go kill the ward. This is all irrelevant to me because I'm just going to go to the lane and start farming. Don't really need a Quelling Blade on this hero, I don't think. She has pretty good base damage and a nice attack animation, so it's not really that necessary. And Stout Shield isn't really going to do much to help me, I don't feel like, so I didn't get that. I mean, I don't really like making Vanguard on her. Getting an early Vitality Booster is fine, but I'd rather just go that and save it for the heart rather than actually make a Vanguard. And since I'm not doing that, I don't really want the Quelling Blade. If I'm up against Sven Shadow Demon, which would be a possibility, I really don't think the Quelling Blade is going to be enough to necessarily save me. And if I'm up against Beastmaster, I'm not going to need it. So anyway, it's just going to be me farming here for a little bit. Nothing really else there. You can see that I'm doing my best to try to control this lane as much as possible. I'm denying all my creeps down from half to make sure that we keep the lane as pulled back as far as possible. Actually missed a last hit there because of that. So it's not so important because the Beastmaster isn't in range. It's not that important that I get the denies necessarily. It's just important that I deal damage to the creeps so that they die a little bit faster. But I've already kind of screwed up lane control, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of embarrassing. Normally I can do a better job of it, but I think I was a little bit distracted by the Sand King actually being down there fighting and stuff. And I actually hear him stun now, which means that I should probably be heading down there, but god, there's just all these juicy creeps. So he actually is calling for help, so I'm going to go try to net this Beastmaster up and then just get a Riptide and hopefully a hit or 2. And yeah, that actually is going to be first blood, so fortunately this is going to destroy this creep wave, but I think, maybe, no, I guess we're going to go try to push now, because, you know, after you get a kill, why not go push? Well, we do have Enchantress. Unfortunately, Enchantress only has 1 creep without a lot of health. I mean, it's fine. You can't really push into Beastmaster anyway, so I wouldn't expect the Enchantress to be in a position ready to push, and you can push into him, but it's not that easy. If they're going to, actually, the Sand King and the Enchantress should go smoke up and go behind the tower and take out the Beastmaster that way. Anyway, haven't actually leveled up a third skill yet. Basically, standard leveling build for Naga is obviously to max Riptide first, which is what I'm doing. And then 1 or 2 points in the net. Sometimes you go 1 point in the net and then mirror image. I don't know exactly what it's called. I mean, it's mirror image in Warcraft 3. So, I mean, mirror image, the illusions, whatever, at level 4, just to have the 1 point in net, or you might just go for another point in net if you're trying to basically get kills and not as concerned with pushing towers. Really could go either way here with the Sand King. Maybe we just want to get some kills on the Beastmaster and can't necessarily push against him. On the other hand, against, well, with an Enchantress on the team, we might be interested in pushing, which the illusions would be a little bit better for. So I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go yet with that. But I do pick up a Sobi Mask. Sage's Mask, I think it's called in this. Or maybe it is a Sobi Mask. I really just don't know the names of the items that well, to be perfectly honest, which is kind of embarrassing. Just because I want a little bit more regen. Should have actually used a Riptide there to get both those creeps. Instead, I lost both of them, which is pretty embarrassing. I was trying to regain control of this lane, I think, which is why I wasn't necessarily using my ability in nuking down the creeps, because I'd like to pull it back so the Beastmaster stops getting experience. But, yeah, I don't know exactly where the Sand King is at this point. I guess, oh, he was overstacking and pulling or something. So that's fine. I'm just going to go get a couple hits on this Beastmaster. We actually want to go, so I am going to throw the net. I should have actually leveled another point of net, since we're going for this kill real quick, but we should be able to get this anyway. And yeah, do end up getting the last hit there. It is, unlike with other carries, ooh, random Sunstrike juke. It's actually because I said I had a Sal for him, and I told him to come back over here that he just randomly juked that Sunstrike, so pretty lucky there. But anyway, unlike most carries where you would like to wait until the last second to use your nuke when you know it'll get the kill, I mean, assuming all things are considered, you're still going to get the kill. With Naga, you actually want to use Riptide as quickly as possible because the negative armor is going to make they take more damage after you hit them with it. Here I'm going to try to get this creep. Obviously, I know that I have to hit it once before the tower hits it, but I messed that up. But anyway, I am going to mess that up at some point as well, using Riptide as quickly as possible, and it is going to cost me a kill. Anyway, I have a lot of money now, so I decided to fly myself out something, and that something is going to be Tranquil Boots. Basically going to go the Tranquil Boots plus Soul Ring build on her. I really like it quite a bit, actually. I mean, she has mana problems. This is no secret. So, I mean, a lot of people, people at first were just going Treads, but the mana problems are just too rampant with Treads. So, either going Soul Ring plus Tranquil Boots, or going Arcane Boots. I prefer Tranquil Boots, first of all, because it's going to be easier for me to stay in lane with the Tranquil Boots plus Soul Ring against a solo once like the Sand King leaves and stuff, than it would be with just the Arcane Boots, because I'll actually have health regeneration as well as just mana regeneration. I guess that would be why people might go Vanguard with Arcane Boots, but that's just, it's a lot of expensive items there. These are both kind of cheap items, Soul Ring plus the Tranquil Boots. Furthermore, the Tranquil Boots are actually going to give me more movement speed, which is really important because it actually lets me close the distance and get in for my ultimate much more easily, which, you know, I haven't taken damage when I'm running in to get my ultimate off, so it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah, that's why I really do like the Tranquil Boots quite a bit on her. We are going to try to take this tower now. Enchantress comes with pretty useless creep, but it should be fine anyway. With the catapult there and me having gone and taken out the creep wave, shouldn't be a problem. And I forgot, I also did finish up my Ring of Acula. I had it mostly finished up with all the items I had on me anyway, so I'm going to try to get this tower here. We actually should be able to get a kill on this Beastmaster. See, I should Riptide right here. Like, I should already have just Riptided. If I'd Riptided just a little bit sooner, he would actually be dead. Unfortunately, he salves up and gets away with like 10 HP. So that is the perfect example of why you need to use Riptide as quickly as possible to increase the amount of damage they're taking. But it's just, you know, it's counterintuitive. Generally speaking, when people are stunned, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to wait to use my abilities until afterwards. But no, that's not how it works with her. But like I said, I mean, this was, I think, my second time playing her, so understandable that I might not have a complete grasp on how to use her, which you'll see later on, too, as I'm not maybe the most effective with using my illusions plus net, etc. But anyway, so I have my Tranquil Boots and my Acula, so now I just need to get a Soul Ring, which is what I would like to use the Courier for, but the Courier is actually in use. So I'm just kind of rotating over here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm rotating for, though. Basically because my lane is pushed up a little bit too far for me to feel comfortable in it at this point. Even with my ultimate, it's going to be extremely difficult for me to get killed, but I really don't want to have to use my ultimate this early if not necessary. So while I'm doing nothing, I decided to go pick up a Magic Stick because, well, why not? I mean, Magic Stick's basically the best item in the game, other than like boots and TPs and wards. And yeah, I'm sure that the Beastmaster is going to use axes pretty frequently, so the Magic Stick should give me a fair amount of regen off of that as well. Anyway, so there's my Soul Ring coming to me, and I'm just going to return to farming, basically. I should probably have a TP on me at this point, to be perfectly honest, because I'm not really like a hard farming carry. Although I can stay in the lane a long time, which is something good about Naga. I mean, you can certainly spend a fair amount of time in the lane with the regen, etc., and just kind of solo push. But I should really have a TP because if there's any fights going near my towers, Naga can have a huge impact early on with that just insane ultimate. So I do pick up my Soul Ring here, and I could have actually used it there, but I didn't have it in the slot on my side mouse button where I like to use it. So anyway, just going to go back to farm here. Really can farm up pretty far, and you see I had my Ring of Acula turned off before, but I do have it back on now. What a douche. But the Enchantress is here, so it's time to try to get a kill. I'd use my Soul Ring. This time I Riptide as quickly as possible, basically. And unfortunately, he's not really microing his creeps, which if he had been, it would have been a lot easier for us to get this kill. And instead, now I'm just going to be a little bit pissed off about the fact that we didn't get the kill, so I am just going to use my ultimate, which is going to be kind of bad. Also, since like my second time playing, I don't realize that I need to actually wait a second to Riptide after the ultimate comes off, so I don't actually hit him with the Riptide either. And now this Invoker is going to come in and do a fair amount of damage to us. Exort style, and I am going to have to try to run away, but I'm probably going to die as well, which I probably deserve. Although, then again, like I said, not completely my fault. And this is also, unfortunately, I was going to say, this is where the Tranquil Boots are amazing too. I mean, at running away, if you haven't taken that many hits yet, they just are great for running. Unfortunately, yeah, well, here I did take a few hits thanks to that disruption, and the Tranquil Boots broke into regular boots, and that's how I get caught. So, a bit of a misplay there. I shouldn't have dove that far. I was just kind of annoyed that we weren't going to get that kill when it would have been an easy kill if the Enchantress had just microed her creeps correctly. But, whatever. What can you do? Unfortunately, we realized that, well, Leshrac has taken the mid tower, I guess, but if you see, I'm actually 3-1, and the score is 6-3. So I actually have all of my team's kills, and, yeah, my team's not doing so well. So what's that mean? It means I'm going to go back to farming. It's not that ridiculous, actually, though, because, I mean, my ultimate's off, and basically the main purpose of this hero in teamfights is her ultimate. I mean, that's what makes her just ridiculous. So I'm going to wait until I have that to do something else. But I do have another TP now, so hopefully I should be able to TP if there's any relatively important teamfight. A lot of low HP creeps here, so just going to Riptide so that I can give up basically half of them to the creeps. Yeah. So at this point, I'm just going to farm up to get my Vitality Booster next. Just want to get some more health. Health obviously helps quite a bit with the whole not dying thing. Having more health just makes it that much more difficult for the opposing team to burst you down through stuns, etc. before you can get your ultimate off, which is a pretty important thing for you to do. Obviously, it also makes the illusions quite tankier, which is good for pushing and just good for preventing them from being DPS down. And yeah, here you can see I'm actually taking a look at the score screen because, yeah, wanted to kind of know how it was we got to this 9-3 situation. But yeah, I'm not really going to say anything, obviously, because I'm just standing in here, and I'm just going to keep farming. Farming's fun. Let's be honest. It's just such positive reinforcement. You see there's that sound, and the gold pops up on your screen. You're like, yeah, I like that. I'm going to harass him as much as possible using Riptide. Well, I don't know why I'm running. Oh yeah, I'm running so far back because I was informed that they actually have someone coming up here from the mid Invoker. So unfortunately now I have to play back because I don't have my ultimate, so it means I'm not going to be safe. But then we spot the Invoker over there, so that means it's time for me to return to the lane. As you can see, basically just using Tranquil Boots anytime it's off cooldown, I have the opportunity to, because, well, Tranquil Boots, I mean, there's no reason not to use them. And going to harass him a little bit with Riptide here. Actually realized that he's going to get pretty low, so I'm going to go for the net and try to get a kill on him. I'm not so sure it's going to happen. Do pop up the illusions here, but they're going to quickly get destroyed by his axes. And yeah, not going to make the same mistake as last time, so I am just going to back out here. All of that boar isn't going to make it that easy on me. Oh, and he's actually coming after me, which does scare me a little bit, because first of all, he has Roar, and second of all, there could be someone behind him. I Tranquil Boots as soon as I am out of range of him, and just barely miss getting roared, but that is thanks to that amazing movement speed. And, I mean, she has great movement speed to begin with, obviously with 320, so 400 base speed without having to activate anything is pretty awesome with these Tranquil Boots, and makes it very difficult to be caught. And, yeah, I'm going to go turn around for this kill again on him. Don't want to use my Soul Ring yet if I don't have to, because, well, I don't want to put myself at low HP. Now I am thinking about using my ultimate here, and I am going to pop it. Unfortunately, the Tranquil Boots are broken, so that means, in all likelihood, I am not going to catch him with his ultimate, but actually I do. And so this time I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to wait until it's fully off of him, and then, yeah, Riptide. And looky here, we've got a tower. I should actually Tranquil Boots up real quick, and then I should Soul Ring and make illusions. But actually I just Soul Ring and make illusions first, which is not necessarily as good because the illusions are going to have less health. But hopefully I'm going to get this tower anyway. I'm just fine with tanking it because I just want to finish off real quick, and I do. So that's nice, getting a solo kill and a solo tower kill. It's pretty good for me, and should maybe help my team get back into the game a little bit by providing them some much needed gold. which actually they've kind of turned things around as well. So right now I'm actually just using the courier over there to get my vitality booster, and I start by sending it to myself. I think I should probably rally it a little bit differently, since we don't actually have wards on the map, but no, I just kind of send it directly to myself. Oh yeah, because I can see the mid lane is pushed up so far, I see where they are, so there's no real risk of this courier getting sniped here. And so yeah, I have my vitality booster now. There's a few different viable builds to go for. Like I said, I really don't like Vanguard. I mean, different viable builds to go for after the Tranquil Boots Soaring. First of all, maybe the most common would be Radiance, but Radiance, first of all, not so good against Shadow Demon, because making copies of me with Radiance Burn, really not so nice for us. Plus, it just runs the risk of me being really squishy and not being able to contribute a whole lot if my illusions get DPS down with AoE, which is pretty easy for that to happen with the amount of AoE that they have. So Radiance, maybe not that great of a choice. Radiance is a really good farming item, because obviously you can send your illusions to a bunch of different camps. And yeah, I'm going to get ganked here. Should be real dead. Should be basically no way of getting out of this. If I had my ultimate, probably could, but with no ultimate, yeah, real dead. So I am kind of pinging around where we don't have any wards. If you see, I actually don't think we've had wards on the map for quite a while, basically anywhere, which is kind of not so good. But looks like we are getting a tower bottom, which is, well, better. Let's see, is there going to be a TP in? Oh, yeah, this is not going to, well, nice cancel on the stun, but then doesn't manage to land the stun at the correct time, and yeah, this is certainly going to be his death. I don't think there's any way he's getting out of this, but Tide and the other guy should have left, but no, they've actually turned back around. Tide does probably still have Ravage, and he is going to pop it. Unfortunately, they don't really have vision, so it's not the best Ravage in the world. And someone TP'd from top, so I am going to TP up here. This is double damage Invoker, which is pretty risky for me. I mean, I can't really go head-to-head with him, even with Riptide, Spam, etc. So I'm just going to try to be safe, but then I see the double damage wears off, so I actually would kind of like to go on him. So I'm going to net him. I already hit him with the Riptide, so I'll take a fair amount of damage, but once he throws the Deafening Blast on me, nah, it's time to just back up. Don't really lose much from doing that, though, because I can just Tranquil Boots up any damage he did deal to me. Unfortunately, it looks like our team is just kind of getting wasted bottom. My team. It's not our team, because you're not necessarily playing with me, are you? Whoever you are. But anyway, so back to item builds. I guess I didn't necessarily explain everything. The Ring of Acula is just great on her because, well, if you're pushing, obviously having an armor aura is pretty important. Also, I find that all too often teams I play on don't make sure that they get a Basilius, and every team should have a Basilius. It's just so important for team fights and for pushing, for slow pushing, etc. So this will be our Basilius in case no one else gets it. Not to mention, like I said, it's just good to have, and nice stats, cheap item to make. And then yeah, so I'm not going to go Radiance, so basically the other options at that point would be to go straight to Heart or to go for Diffusal. And my team actually wants me to go to Diffusal, and basically I just pose them the question of which they want. Seeing the Beastmaster do this is an immediate sign to me that there's trouble coming, so I just kind of turn back around so that I can get my ult on everyone and immediately TP out. I could try running, but with the Invoker, there's a chance they could catch up, although it is an Exort Invoker, so probably not. Still, just the safest bet there to ult TP, which is always a safe thing to do as her. Unfortunately, it's going to be 3 minutes now that I don't have my ult again, which I really haven't contributed a lot to team fights, which is maybe something I should be doing a bit more of. You know, the reason why you get Tide Naga is to do that combo in team fights. But then again, like I said, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the team that well, maybe, so I guess I'm just content farming. Well, also, I don't know, I mean, yes, it's important for me to be in team fights, but at the same time, it's important not to give up a lane. And like, there's never anyone else top, so I don't just want to sacrifice that lane and just let the other team free farm there while we take nothing. I see them running at me, so I know that's pretty obvious. But thanks to 400 movement speed, they're gonna have difficulty catching me. If he had gone just a little bit further under the tower, I would have actually netted him under there and ran at him with illusions, but he didn't, so backed off just in time. And so I'm just going to probably farm one more creep wave here. Yeah, Soul Ringing up just to Riptide these guys, and then I'm going to probably TP top. Because once again, it's pushed all the way up to our tower, and no one's there, and you just don't give up lanes for free. Although, I actually see a little bit of action happening here bottom. I did tell them that these people, two people, were both coming there from mid. I am running to come help out, but realize now there's absolutely nothing I can do, so yep, time to TP top. So, again, I did let them know on TeamSpeak that those two people were coming from the mid, but they just got caught by them anyway, and there's really not a whole lot I can do about that. So anyway, to finish off my talk about what item I'm going to go, Diffusal. Just something my team wanted me to get. My team was actually under the mistaken impression, and I was sure that this wasn't the case anymore, because I believe I remember reading it in patch notes, that Purge takes off Sven's ult, which it does not. Which is a good thing, actually, because Sven is such a shitty hero anyway, that he really could use not being able to be countered by a 3,300 gold item. or not to have his damage countered by a 3,300 gold item. So yeah, I know I cannot purge Sven's ult off, but purge is still going to be very good against a DPS Sven, because even if his ult's still on, he moves so slowly that it makes it very easy to kite if you can purge him. So purge is going to be good in that regard. Obviously it's just good for her in general, because the idea is that you make a bunch of illusions and they all have mana burn, which is pretty feisty. I see the Shadow Demon here. Generally speaking, I'm going to think a Shadow Demon's not alone, so seeing him there is enough for me to be scared back. And I guess I'm probably just going to go into the jungle and farm a bit now. I mean, I have basically unlimited mana, unlimited health, as long as I don't need to use a lot of it in a short duration. I'm going to try to stack here, but my timing is just a tiny bit off, I think, so I'm not actually going to get the stack in time. Yeah, didn't actually get it. Would have stacked and then riptided. But yeah, so I can safely farm the jungle here. I mean, it's not the most effective use of time, but if my lane is kind of pushed a little bit too far down, it's a safe thing for me to be doing. Enchantress is actually just going to go suicide down there. We're telling her to back off right now, and she is finally going to start backing off now, but it's going to be too late. She did. But fortunately, seeing a bunch of them down there means that I can head back to my lane up top. And I'm just going to work towards getting that diffusal and then actually getting engaged in team fights. I am level 11 now, though, which means I have level 2 of my ult, so I really should be making sure that I'm getting in some fights. The problem is my team has just put... I mean, look, we actually have a nice tower advantage, but we've been fighting so far away from our towers. Now, not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's good to be aggressive so that they can't just passively farm after we take some towers, but at the same time, I mean, it makes it very difficult for me as a carry to TP and contribute something to these fights. So, like I said, farming it is. Don't worry, there will be more action at some point in the game, I'm sure of this. Anyways, I think we saw that Shadow Demon coming there, so I was thinking about going to try to catch him, but don't really know where most of them are, and now they're showing up at the bottom tower, so it's probably time to head down there. So I am going to just TP forward. I'm going to TP as far forward as possible. See, I set my rally point, and I'm just going to go in and ult as soon as possible, and set up a big ultimate for my team. So we've got the Sand King ult and the Tide ult, and we're going to just trigger them all off. Except the Tide ult is a little bit too slow, but we are still going to... the Sand King did manage to pick off... actually, he didn't manage to pick off anyone. The Leshrac just died. Where did the Leshrac die out? I guess he died... I don't really know. So we do end up only getting one. Obviously, the idea there with having both Sand King and Tide, which is a little bit overkill maybe, but I guess it works. Generally speaking, you would go Naga Tide is the most common, and Naga Sand King is nice as well, because the idea is you can start channeling the ultimate and then just burrow strike someone immediately after Naga pulls back her ult. So just a little bit of miscommunication or mistiming there from us. But like I said, I mean... me not being someone used to playing with them, obviously our timings are going to be a little bit off since I'm the one pulling the trigger on taking my ultimate off. So do just want to come take this tower real quick, but diving past tower is not really ever a good plan, so I don't really want to do that. But I forgot that Tide does still have the Ravage, because it actually didn't get used, so we are going to just try to kill this Sven real quick. Use my illusions there. Unfortunately, I've got nothing else, but an Enchantress Slow should be enough for us to finish Sven off, and fortunately the Invoker is going to come through with that oh-so damaging Meteor. I do have my net now, though, so we can hopefully turn around on this guy, and Riptide will be up in 1 second. I actually do use the Riptide a little preemptively, unfortunately, not in time for the Invoker to be out of the disruption. I should have actually done it at a different time. I am trying to just get the Invis Invoker here, but then I realized, no, this is just a bad situation to be in. I'm just going to go take this tower and back out. I did actually buy my Diffusal Blade before that happened, but didn't want to send it to myself all the way down here, so I didn't. I sent the courier back. And Enchantress, once again, just overstaying her welcome. But yeah, so I have my Diffusal, and I'm going to head back to somewhere now. My ult should be back off cooldown again pretty soon here, so I'd be perfectly fine with another team fight. If that should just so happen. Someone else is actually using the courier now, so I will still not quite have my Diffusal. I see Leshrac farming those creeps there, which is what I was going to go get, so instead I'm just going to go get these this weak camp here, and just using my Soul Ring whenever I have the chance. I should probably be getting rid of the Soul Ring pretty soon here, because... oh, excuse me. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, because I'll need a TP plus my Diffusal on me at all times. And I've got to get rid of something, so Soul Ring is probably the best bet. So here I think I am just going to wait and stack this camp and then clear it en masse. And I do have the courier actually flying to me now. I'm just going to open the window for a second because it's getting quite warm in here, and have a drink of water. But yeah, so stacking this camp up. My timing on the pull is still a little bit off. I should probably pull just a tiny bit sooner. Ooh, and I actually see all this fighting happening mid. Unfortunately, I do not have that aforementioned TP on me, which I should have. Hopefully they are able to keep someone around just long enough for me to get there. I do have my ultimate, which I can use whenever need be. This doesn't really seem like the situation to use it in, though. Beastmaster is dead, but now I see 3 of them, so yeah, that's ultimate time. And so now we can all get in position. As usual, I'm just going to bring out my illusions. As soon as I see Sand King channeling his ultimate, it means it's time to take mine off. I'm just going to run forward after this Enigma and try to take him out, but taken out by the Enchantress instead. And yeah, so now it's time to push. We should be able to take a tier 2 tower here. Yeah, so should have a TP. That was basically all I was saying. Obviously, with Naga, the illusions do Riptide as well, so I could position them a little bit better, sending one of the illusions forward so that it hit that range creep as well, but not really happening. We shouldn't be so clumped up, actually, because this is just prime target for, yeah, this Invoker. It's just going to do a ton of damage to us, actually. Wow, that just really hurts. Barely get saved there by, I think the Enchantress wasn't really necessary, but just my stick charges. And yeah, so that hurts quite a bit. Don't clump up quite so much like that against the Sven and Invoker. I guess it's pretty obvious. And yeah, so I guess we're going to have to back up now. I can use my Tranquil Boots and figure out something to do. Like I said, should probably have gotten rid of the Soul Ring by now. At this point, at level 14 with 715 mana, my mana problems are kind of gone, so the Soul Ring isn't really as necessary anymore. Not that it's not bad to have, but given all the items I have, yeah, I'm just going to make free illusions here, because why not, and then I'm going to send them in front. Still staying in a line like this, so that they don't actually know which one is me, but although now it should be fairly obvious. Going to try to land a net on one of these people. The Shadow Demon decides just to sacrifice this Sven for some reason, so I'm going to net him. Try not to clump up too much. Nice stun, actually, from the Enchantress, and yeah, it looks like we're going to continue to fight, since they actually came getting roared by the Beastmaster, but that's not really that big of a deal, because, oh, that actually is a much bigger deal. Yeah, that's going to be real bad. Unfortunately, I have no ultimate to use here either. Mech is not going to be enough to save us, and I'm just going to run the hell away. Yeah, nothing I can do for either Leshrac. If I had my ultimate, maybe I could use it to save him, but you know, actually going to get Yules here, but I should be fine. We have a TP coming back in. I throw out my illusions just to make it a little more difficult for them to catch me, and with Sand King TPing in here, actually I'm going to be able to turn back around on this Enigma and finish him off. Still the Beastmaster there, so it's kind of tempting. Don't want to use my ultimate just for this alone, although, yeah, no. So instead I'm just going to purge him, hit him with a Riptide, start hitting him a few times. Sand King deciding to Burrow Strike through, even though he's disruptioned by the Shadow Demon. And, oh man, I'm so close to death. Nice stick charges, and so just begging the Sand King to get this boar the hell off of me. Really afraid of a Sunstrike right about now, though. So I'm going to have to use some slightly zigzagging path movement, etc. Just taking random paths. Unfortunately, you never really know, because maybe they anticipate this, or maybe they're just not very smart about it in general. And my door just randomly opened. Sorry. That's the wind blowing through here. But yeah, so just not taking necessarily the most direct path back, pausing occasionally, etc. I should actually do one thing slightly better that I don't do here, which is when you're playing against Sunstrike, or an Exort Invoker, Sunstrike Invoker, whatever, don't stand in the middle of the fountain. This is just a very bad idea, and you see she does get hit there, but I regen enough health thanks to the Tranquil Boots that it's actually fine. So yeah, when playing against an Exort Invoker, move into the side of the fountain rather than in the center of the fountain, because it's so much more likely that they're going to Sunstrike the center. Anyway, I do sell my Soul Ring, as you can see, so I now have TPs again, which is what I should have, and I'm up to level 16, so I can actually fight pretty frequently now with a level 3 ultimate 60 sec cooldown. Would like to get my heart up, just to make myself and my illusions a bit more tanky, which will be the next thing I'm working towards, but I'm not going to buy up the Reaver straight up, because I don't really have space for it. And also kind of important to have buybacks, although actually not that important since we have all these towers still. Tide does get picked off top there. Unfortunately, I just TV'd bottom, so there's really nothing I can do for these people top. And yeah, that's kind of rather unfortunate. Meanwhile, our Enchantress is actually just going solo against someone, trying to man up, I guess. And I'm distracted by a lot of different things and not really noticing the last thing. And yeah. I see someone actually died up top, so I start to watch up there to see what happens, only to realize, yeah, probably a couple seconds too late. Oh wait, there's actually stuff going on down here. So time to try to back out. I'm going to have to use my ultimate as quickly as I can here, but unfortunately I keep getting stunned. Finally do get the ultimate off there, but I'm just going to die anyway from the Shadow Demon damage. Actually it was the Enigma Pulse that was enough to get me. Enchantress is going to TP out in time, though. But yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, sometimes curiosity gets the best of me, and I want to see what my teammates are doing, or what exactly happens in bad situations, etc. But it's just always more important to actually be paying attention to what you're doing. So, I mean, that's pretty much the lesson there. And unfortunately, Sven is going to get a tower off of us. He has a fair amount of damage. He has an armlet finished and a Reaver as well. So, going probably towards a heart, I wouldn't think it's that likely he's going to go for Satanic. But that's a fair amount of strength he has at almost 2.2k health with Strength Treads. Just having a sip of water. Yeah, meanwhile, Leshrak's item's not so very good. He was our solo mid, but he pretty much got crushed by the Invoker. I don't really know. I mean, it was the captain's idea that Leshrak should do fine against Invoker. I'm not really sure if that is the case. I think Invoker probably is favored against Leshrak, but I've never really played the matchup, because I play Invoker quite a bit, but I've never actually faced a Leshrak, and I really rarely play Leshrak. So back to buying TPs. Obviously I always like to keep an additional TP on me, so when I TP out of the base I keep 2. I'm telling the Leshrak to turn around on the Invoker if possible. The 2 of us should be able to get kill on him, but he's intelligently enough going to back off when he sees the Invoker playing up. And then he turns back around, but unfortunately, thanks to Force Staff, I'm not going to catch him with a net. But it looks like there is some action going in the mid, and I'm going to try to get there as quickly as possible. Just going to use my ultimate to save the Tide's life from too much damage there, positioning myself pretty effectively so no one else can really come back up. And as soon as I see them getting ready, we're just going to go on them here. Just get in the center, deal damage with Riptide and my illusions. Meteor again, just doing a ton of damage to us, but this time the Invoker might have stayed a little bit too far. I do purge him first and then net him up second. We do have a sentry down there, so there's no way he's getting out of this, and we are going to be able to push into the mid a little bit now. So yeah, basically always important just to run in with your ultimate if you can. You know, at this point it's 60-second cooldown, so it really can be used quite frequently. Invoker does buy back, which with that Meteor Deafening Blast combo is going to make it a little bit more difficult to push in. Smart decision by him, obviously, to buy back here, because if he doesn't, we probably get to take Rax here. Enigma, we see his BKB up, so that means he's obviously looking for a black hole, so I'm just going to stay on him by myself, and yeah, just net him up. Hopefully none of my team will come too close, but then they kind of do. He is actually off of his BKB now, so the Sand King is able to stun him. Unfortunately, the Invoker is coming in now. Mech is actually, no, not going to be enough to save me, and I try to get my ult off, but it doesn't really work. But we see a few of them dying, so I figure, okay, well, this is a good time to buy back, TV back in, and we're going to be able to go back into the base and hopefully get those racks, which are really important for us to take. Since I felt like we were behind for most of the game, I would really, I mean, if we could just get racks, that would put us in a position where we'd be fine. Don't really know. They have 2 dead, and for some reason our Leshrak, who's our primary source of building damage, has actually decided to go to the secret shop, which I don't really understand, personally, so, yeah. Unfortunately, I also don't have my ultimate because I wasted it when I was just about to die there, but I do purge the Sven anyway, trying to get as much DPS off on him as possible, but that Deafening Blast is just so annoying. I am chasing a little bit too deep here, but the Sand King decides to go for it, actually, when I decide, no, probably not the best idea. Really difficult to catch this Invoker because of stupid Force Staff. Do finish off the tower with my illusions and myself, and decide, yeah, it's probably time to back out here. The Enchantress still staying in, though. Maybe she'll be able to get away, hopefully. I don't know. The Invoker probably can't chase, yeah. He's going to try to Sunstrike. The Sunstrike misses, and the Forge Spirit shouldn't be enough to chase her down, although there will be another Sunstrike coming at some point. Meanwhile, I am up to 4.3k gold, so I can go buy my Reaver and finish off my heart. Like I said, we've got 5 outer towers left, so it's not that likely that I am going to need buyback. I mean, buyback there was decent, I would say. Since we did get the tower, it was probably worth it, although it's tough to say, actually. If the Leshrak had stayed rather than running off to the secret shop, it probably would have been a little bit better. But, yeah, well, whatever. Wasn't the worst ever. I mean, I have enough gold for my heart now anyway, so it should be fine. So just buy up the recipe on the courier back in the base, and going to send to the secret shop now to finish up pick up the Reaver and finish up the heart, which should hopefully make me a little bit more difficult for them to deal with. Although it's been kind of difficult for them to deal with me anyway. I mean, it all just depends kind of the situation my team is in when I get there. If they're not all dead yet, we should usually be able to get a pretty good combination off with my ultimate. Unfortunately, I did not send myself a TP because I didn't think I had the money. See the Hawk flying there and going to pick that off. Not going to let them spy on our Roche. And yeah, just going to go up over here and take the Ancients real quick. I see the Hawk flying there, so I'm assuming that they're definitely not in Roche. Because, yeah, if they were, actually, as you can see, but I can't on my screen, they just came by in smoke. If they were in Roche, there was no reason for the Hawk to be there, so I don't expect that they're in there yet. So I actually want us to come do it. So, yeah. And we have the ward there, so I didn't really think that they could possibly get past me. I mean, they're this close, I thought the smoke would dispel if they were smoked up. But it's actually going to turn out, no, they were actually in Roche. So that's not so good. But the good news is this means that, well, if they are all kind of clumped up. If they come up this hill, it's the perfect situation for us to fight in. I should probably start my ult right now. Time to ult, time to ult. I'm just spamming R basically as much as possible. Unfortunately, there's a slight cast animation on that, and they keep just casting spells on me. Unfortunately, this Beastmaster Roar, I think, is going to be just barely enough to actually finish me off. Tide does end up ravaging anyway, and yeah, I am not able to get my ult off, which is really bad. I mean, I was just sitting there spamming R, but there wasn't a lot I was able to do about it. The Sand King is going to be able to get a really good epicenter off here, though, thanks to them clumping up for that black hole. Unfortunately, we're still probably going to lose the fight thanks to them having that Aegis, a really sneaky Aegis kill. Just a lot of damage they can deal with that Sven. Yeah, and so that ends up being a 4-for-4 trade if the Sand King does manage to get out here, which I think it should be pretty difficult for them to kill him. So 4-for-4 since we got the Aegis. Not so great for us, but could have been worse, I guess, considering that they did get the Aegis. At least we got rid of it. So basically, the problem that we're having a little bit, or going to start having a little bit in team fights here, is that they have two really high sources of damage. Both that Invoker, who's X-Sword, who can do a ton of right-click damage, in addition to obviously Deafening Blast, Meteors, and Strike, etc. Forge Spirits, and the Sven. The Sven is pretty easy for us to avoid, but not so easy for us to kill. Typically against a Sven, you would want to, I mean, just kite him and DPS him down with ranged DPS. We don't really have that. Since the Leshrac doesn't really have any items, he's not really a reliable source of DPS, so we're pretty much all relying on AoE ultimates for DPS, and then me. And I just can't stand toe-to-toe with Sven, because, yeah, I'm just moving my items down a little bit now. I'm not sure exactly how I had him set up before, actually, but basically I just want my Diffusal on spacebar. But yeah, so, I mean, I really can't stand toe-to-toe Sven. I mean, if I get his surround on him with my illusions, I kind of can, but his cleave is going to make it so that if I run him all from one direction, all my illusions are just going to get melted. I'm going to take way too much damage from him, since, like I said, I cannot actually purge his ultimate off. So he's difficult for us to kill in that regard, and the Invoker, unfortunately, is also very difficult for us to kill, because he has Yules and Force Staff. It makes it, anytime we try to focus him, well, he really has a lot of ways of getting away or prolonging things, etc. But yeah, so we are trying to catch someone here. We'd really like to force our way into their base in mid. I mean, the tower is down, so it should be pretty open for us, but unfortunately, we can't really just run into their base. Against Invoker Enigma, it would be pretty precarious, and since we're not really necessarily winning the game... Oh, I should actually... I guess you guys would probably... I forgot, this is free play, so I can actually show you these things. This is actually the gold graph. I guess this doesn't really factor in so much what you'd like to see in a first-person VOD, but maybe since it's a replay anyway, that's what you will actually see. Yeah, so that's the gold graph, and that's the experience graph. So we are actually favored in the gold graph because we have such a big tower advantage, but they are winning by quite a bit in the experience graph. Oh, I guess I should show maybe scores, but it looks like it's actually going to be fight time. I am going to try to get into a position where I think my ultimate will do some stuff. I see right here that, yeah, just trying to cast it again, but get roared immediately. But as soon as I come out of this, I think I am going to ultimate, and yeah, I do end up catching most of them, which is going to allow us to, again, set up for a pretty big ultimate here. I'm just telling my team exactly what it's going to come off. Tide does get the Ravages in time. Fortunately, Enigma did already BKB. I am trying to focus him down as quickly as possible, because I'm afraid that BKB means that a black hole's coming out. He didn't actually have his black hole, though, so that wasn't really the case. Do just try to purge the Sven here, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to try to DPS him down with my illusions from behind. See that he's not facing me. Once he turns and faces me, he does do an insane amount of damage, which is actually a bit more of the problem. So I'm going to try to run away here, but yeah, not actually going to make it. Fortunately, we should get this Invoker. Yeah, it's going to be enough from the Enchantress, and we'll see if they can actually catch out this Beastmaster. Beastmaster actually goes into a really nice cheap spot and TP's out, and Sven did buy back, so that means it's time for my team just to back off. So again, not a terrible fight for us. Yeah, gold graph and experience graph, both going slightly in our direction. Kind of not so nice for me because I keep dying even in the type of fights that we have successful. I guess I can take a look and show you guys, well, we can look at some of these things. Gold per minute is there. I'm not sure if you guys want this or not, since well, obviously in theory I was originally just doing first-person VODs, but it's just such a pain since so many games I play are bad, not worth recording. The amount of effort invested just isn't worth the amount that I actually produce. So since I'm doing replays now instead, due to the convenience, I'm not sure if you guys want me to show you these replay-oriented things, but yeah, gold per minute there, and then I'm going to just show the kills chart, etc. So yeah, this Invoker is really wrecking us. He's basically carrying their team. I wouldn't say carrying their team, but he's doing certainly a lot for them in his CM, scrim, whatever. So, I mean, team game regardless, not like one person's carrying, etc. But he's definitely doing a lot for them. Am I going to have another sip of water? So anyway, at this point, I still would really like to force in mid, but basically what that means is we just need to get wards up on the map and basically pick them, one or two of them off, and then go into their base. And with my ultimate being 60-second cooldown, it's very easy to pick 2 people off, because, I mean, I go in, get an ultimate, we can catch a couple of people and kill them. The rest back off, but by the time we get to their base, the ultimate's off cooldown. Unfortunately, that whole having wards and picking people off thing doesn't work so well when you actually don't have any wards anywhere, which we don't. I do see Shadow Demon here, but again, long cast animation is longer than his. Do want to try to net him. Unfortunately, I have a fair amount of debuffs on me at this point, so I'm just going to try to back off so I don't take too much damage. Sunstrike does miss me, which would have been pretty brutal if it hit. Fortunately, I have Heart, so I will regenerate this back up pretty quickly, and I am going to run in with my ultimate on. This is actually only going to catch 2 of them, but this is kind of what I was talking about. Unfortunately, it did stop the Leshrac stun, but we should still be fine anyway. Going to stop this, yeah, with the net, the Sand King Burrow Strikes anyway, and yeah. Those are basically the 2 kills, picks off that we needed. Fortunately, the mid lane is pretty pushed at this point, so it's not going to be necessarily as easy to do as I would like, but we're going to try for it anyway. And yeah, hopefully we'll also get some wards up, so making those pickoffs maybe a little bit easier. But that really is just the power of my ultimate right there. Like, the worst part about it is it's almost like you just have to sacrifice those teammates in a situation like that. I mean, your team can come get close, but you can't actually get that close necessarily to save them. If you have enough burst damage on your team, they're just going to die anyway. Here comes the push in mid. I'm asking for Arcane Boots. I should have actually Riptided there, but I just want to get these creeps down as quickly as possible because I realize we have a very limited amount of time. Normally I would just spam Riptide again here. The Invoker is going to come out and throw an EVP Tornado, which is going to be the last of my mana. We do have Arcanes on the Sand King and the Tide, though, so I should be able to get Arcaned up pretty soon here and make some illusions, which we can send into the base and at least do something. Sven is just going to stun the last of the creep wave, though, which is going to mean that we would actually get backdoor production if we win in. I do have mana now, though, so I'm going to throw out my ultimate, and yeah, that's going to catch all of them. So it looks like we're going to have a good engagement here. I don't actually make my illusions right away, which I should have. I should actually already have my illusions up, but there they are, the nice Tide Ravage, and just going to try to focus down this Sven now. Would like to get a net or a purge on him. I do end up purging him instead, just to slow him down, and haven't used my net on anyone yet. Would use it on the Invoker, but then it just does a ton of damage, and yeah, that definitely why I run back into the Meteor, which is maybe not the best thing ever. And yeah, well, now it's time to get the hell out of here because yeah, basically that Invoker just wasted us again, partially due to my fault, my inability to move correctly with the Meteor. Tide does want us to turn around on these guys. I don't have my illusions though, which means my source of DPS is going to be severely limited. But we can try to focus down this Beastmaster. I use the Purge after the net just to try to focus on it as much as possible, but really don't want to try to stand and fight the Invoker who has those Forge Spirits. I mean, they're just going to melt us so quickly. I do net him, and I'm going to Riptide. No, actually, I'm not going to Riptide. I make my illusions instead. Maybe should have Riptide there, but I'm not exactly sure. And yeah, he is going to Ghost Walk and get away just fine. And fortunately, though, with my heart, I can basically just stay here, and we should be able to push into the base now. Using Tranquil Boots, too, just because, well, why not? And, yeah, hopefully we can go in. I mean, we've still got 5 more seconds on the Enigma, and we know that the Invoker's low HP, so we should just be able to... Basically, my goal is just to take this Rax and get the hell out. EMP Tornado, not really as scary from X-Sword Invoker as the Deafening Blast Meteor combo would be. Leshrac actually getting caught there. I should turn around and just go ult right now to save his life. But... well, there's 2 things to it. 1, I just didn't think of it, to be perfectly honest. And 2, like, I mean, it was pretty obvious that we should have backed out there, and he took a really weird path. I guess he was trying to avoid something, but I don't even know what he was trying to avoid, because there was no tornado. We'd already been EMP tornadoed, so I don't really know why he ran up like that, rather than just running out with us. Although he probably would have gotten caught anyway, because the Invoker could have just force-staff fueled. But yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a lack of sympathy thing. I mean, when someone does something that you consider, well, I mean, if you think they could have gotten away, you're kind of maybe less inclined, like, well, whatever, this person's dead because they deserve to be. But now, speaking of being dead because they deserve to be, me, can I get my ultimate off? No, this is actually just going to be chain stun. So yeah, I'm dead because I deserve to be. Not really paying attention. I think I was actually talking at that point in TeamSpeak. With Leshrac or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really remember. But they are going to try to push one of our towers here. I feel like we can actually defend this. Do I have buyback money? I'm not actually sure. I'm going to throw out the Glyph, though. I think if we fight under the tower with that Sand King ult, we should be fine. Unfortunately, they're not really clumped up very much with the Sand King ult. And the Sand King ult really doesn't hit the Sven really much at all, which is kind of a bit of a problem from us. But yeah, I do have my buyback, so I am going to buy back and TP to this tower once I see that the fight has started. And I'm going to immediately net and illusions this Beastmaster and just burn him down. Unfortunately, the Forge Spirits did take down the tower, though, while we were distracted, but we killed all of them, we didn't lose anyone, so not a terrible situation. And now we should be able to push into mid, I would hope. I'm not really sure what... Oh, yeah, I actually want to get the second level of my Diffusal, since I've used up all the charges. Generally, I think this is optimal. Obviously with Naga, because the main reason you're making the Diffusal isn't for chasing people like you are with like a Ricky, for instance, rather, or to keep him in the cloud, whatever, I mean chasing, keeping him in the cloud, etc. But rather for the mana burn damage and just the mana burning. Level 2 Diffusal is a little bit more of a priority than it might normally be in that regard, so you could consider, conceivably, leveling it up before you use up all the charges, but I still think it's probably optimal. I mean, you can just be a little bit more aggressive with using the charges, and I think you'll be fine, which is kind of what I've done. We'd like to go take this Roche here. Unfortunately, again, we really have no wards on the map. I swear this is at least supposed to be a high-level-ish game, but, well, our person playing the Enchantress maybe is not so used to playing support or something like that, not really sure. But anyway, just going to try to steal this Roche here. We realized there's not really any opportunity to push, the lanes were too pushed out, and our team wasn't really in a position or was too low to do it. So taking Roche is basically the best plan at this point, and just going to try to keep my negative armor up on him. Obviously can't really use my illusions, because they'll just get melted. I mean, I could use them to just stop and tank the damage, but I don't really need that much help tanking the damage anyway since I have Heart. So I just drop my TPs and pick up the Aegis. Aegis in this instance, alright, on our team, Aegis would be best on Leshrac, without a doubt. But since the Leshrac really has no items, basically isn't able to contribute a lot, in this case the Aegis would be better served on me, especially since they have shown that they are capable of bursting me down through the heart before I get my ultimate off, and being able to come back up and make sure to get that ultimate off is pretty important. Although, I mean, yeah, it's not great on, I'm actually right here telling the Leshrac to take this farm, but he says, no, I don't care, so, like, okay, whatever. The reason being, I don't really have that much more that I want at this point as far as items go. I mean, I have most of what I would consider the core items for Naga at this point, the Diffusal, and Diffusal and Basilius of some sort. But anyway, yeah. I don't think Aegis is that great on Naga because, generally speaking, if you have to come back up and then ult, your team's probably going to have had to blow their AoE abilities by then anyway. The Sand King, maybe not, but the Tide I think would need to. So it's not going to be that effective. But yeah, so basically what I was going to say actually, I wanted to talk about a little while ago. One good thing about going Tranquil Boots is you can actually disassemble the Tranquil Boots at some point and make treads, which obviously you're going to want to do as you gets later in the game. And then you can actually use the disassembled pieces of the Tranquil Boots well, you basically wouldn't use the Ring of Protection because you probably want to already have had a Basilius. But if you didn't make a Ring of Acula, you could actually use the disassembled part of the Tranquil Boots to make a Vlad's, which would be a fine choice as well. But because I went for early Acula, I'm not going to make Vlad's. You see I actually leave all the other items on the floor there, which I probably should sell, but we're in a hurry to go smoke up, so yeah, I just kind of left him and figured I'd deal with him later. As soon as the Enchantress gets desmoked, though, we realized they're here as well. I mean, we thought that they probably smoked, but not necessarily at this point. But yeah, I guess it wasn't much earlier smoke because they're all revealed, many of them now. So basically, I'm just going to run in ahead of everyone. I have the Aegis and obviously my ultimate. And as soon as I see them, yep, it's ultimate time. So this means it should be a pretty good fight for us. We've been talking about how we need to focus the Invoker, so I'm going to go over towards him, tell them when my ultimate's coming off. Unfortunately, the Invoker's just so tough to catch because now, yeah, I'm going to catch him in this, and he's just going to Yules himself. Yeah, he just Yules himself. So now I turn around and try to focus the Sand King, but unfortunately we've already wasted a fair amount of time and positioning. Fortunately, a nice blade mail actually from the Tide is actually hopefully going to be enough for us to catch that Invoker. Yeah, the Invoker does go down. Fortunately, I think the Tide is going to die before I get back up. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. The gem is on the ground there, which I would like to take, but I would like to just finish off this Sven first. It's kind of, I think, more of a priority, and the Sand King does pick up the gem. Invoker did buy back, though. So we're not really going to be able to get anything out of this fight. And that is basically the last point at which we try to, or at least I think I'm going to try to focus the Invoker, because I've just realized that it is completely futile, and I was just wasting a lot of time trying to go after him, especially with that Ice Wall, which just completely wrecked my illusions, and myself. But yeah, so done focusing the Invoker, going to focus Sven, or basically whoever I can. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, at this point, Tranquil Boots not so necessary because I don't need the regen anymore, and the movement speed still is kind of unfortunate to lose because, like I said, it's so good to be able to get in and get the ultimate off. But at the same time, just having a little bit more health and, more importantly, that attack speed with the mana burn is just going to be so much better. So yeah, I mean, it's really treads time basically. Could consider Boots of Travel instead, but well, yeah, I think that would be fine. I mean, going travels instead of treads would be perfectly reasonable at this point. But since I don't have travels, I should actually have a TP. Although, this is an instance where a TP isn't... Well, no, it's always important, because actually if I get ganked in the woods, I'd like to be able to ult TP rather than ult and try to have to run, which is always risky. See the courier just kind of standing there, so I'm wondering what's it doing. It doesn't seem to be doing much. I could be tread swapping as well to int when I'm using Riptide here, but I have so much mana. I mean, I'm level 24. At level 24, I think tread swapping maybe not the highest priority in the world, since I have, yeah, 1200 base mana as well as 4.5 per second regen, so not a huge deal. Anyway, just get off my camp and realize it's the respawn time, so it's time to go back and take another camp. Just farming because there's really nothing else for us to do at this point. We did lose the Aegis in that fight, so my plan at this point is basically we should wait until wait until Roche gets back up, take Roche, and then go push or force a fight or something. I mean, it'll be with cheese as well, which would be really good for us. And obviously we're the Dire, so we have Roche advantage, so this just basically makes sense. It's just so hard to push into all the AoE that they have and Enigma, etc. It just doesn't seem worth the risk. Unless we can get a pick off. Maybe, are those our wards that I see then? I guess they actually must be. Even though it shows them green. I assume green is because Radiant, but I've actually been wrong about that all the game. Sorry, I haven't really watched replays like this in a while. So those actually are our wards that we see them with. And this is double damage, which is also pretty nice. So I'm just going to run on up here and try to get my ultimate off. I get Disruption right away, as usual. But Sand King's going to go through and Burrow Strike, and yeah, this is going to give us the opportunity to set up a big ultimate. Tornado is going to stall for a little bit, but basically we should still have plenty of time, and yeah. I take out the Shadow Demon first, just because he was right there. Like I said, just going to focus on that. See the Invoker down there. I'm actually having a little bit of a control issue. I thought I was controlling myself, but I was actually controlling an illusion. I'm going to get the net off on the Beastmaster here. Just taking him down because this was, well, again, he was just easy, and his aura's there. Yeah, I'm going to use this Purge on the Sven once he keeps chasing after... No, should use this Purge on the Sven, but actually didn't have to use it, I guess. And over here we see our Tide focusing on Invoker. Invoker does Yules himself right away, but I should be able to net him as soon as he comes back up. Nice stun from the Leshrac, and yeah. Enigma ulting just me. Not really the biggest deal in the world. Would be able to net him through BKB, but net is on cooldown. But he is going to die anyway, and that's an ultra kill. Even though I did kind of miss micro in the beginning there, trying to micro myself when I was microing my illusions. Still, you know, I'm playing Naga, an imbalanced hero, so that's what happens. And yeah, with their entire team dead, we are definitely going to push into their base. In theory, we should be able to take bottom racks as well as mid racks, which should basically be the goal. In theory, should just take bottom melee racks and immediately move on to range or melee racks in mid, but I'm greedy sometimes. Just going to send my illusions in before the creeps, because I mean they're hard illusions. Just telling my team not to even bother trying to chase after the Shadow Demon. He's really just trying to distract us. He can do absolutely nothing, and killing him isn't really going to prolong much anyway, since, I mean, he's not really their source of damage or anything like that. I do start moving up now, yeah, and I leave that range racks with about half health left, and I'm going to head on over here to this melee rack, just using Riptide to do a little bit of damage to the creeps passively while focusing on the racks, which is much more important. And yeah, here I have the liberty to kill a couple creeps because I'm greedy and I want the gold, and we basically, I figure, already got the racks. I mean, if I have to and they come fight, we can't ult, or I can't ult. The Enigma is gone, so I didn't really expect them to come fight. I basically thought they were just conceding the game at this point, but well, it looks like that's not going to happen, and it looks like it is going to be fighting time, so I'm making up some illusions and just going to DPS down someone in a net. I should really, I mean, my coordination on this should be a little bit better. Obviously, the idea is just to net someone, make illusions, or run up to them, make illusions to surround them, or basically be right around them and then attack. But I have been using my net a fair amount, or my illusions while my ult was up. Anyway, here I just throw out an ult, and actually we were having a debate about whether Purge takes off Sven's ult or not, and I was telling them it wasn't. My team insisted it was, so basically I'm just going to run around here until his BKB is off so that I can purge him and show them that yeah, it does not take off his ultimate. I figured basically since they had one person disconnected at this point that it was safe to do something like that anyway. And yeah, well, that's pretty much game, I guess. I mean, like I said, when we're doing stuff like that, I assume the game's over anyway. I'm not going to try diving the fountain too much. I hope it would be pretty embarrassing for me to do something like that. Looks like the Sand King wanted to, but yeah, I'm just going to focus on taking down these towers. And yeah, so basically, I mean, I think the reason we won this game was pretty simply picks. I mean, first picking Naga is so strong, and being the fact that we were able to first pick Naga and then they did not take the Tide and Leshrac, I don't know, not a lot to say about that one. and I think that's pretty much the reason we won, not necessarily my skill. As I said, I didn't really play amazing, but Naga is pretty easy to play and pretty effective regardless, so yeah, just gonna run in here now because, well, I'm something of an idiot, and yeah, that's game. So anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's been a while since I've made a video, and I've been pretty intermittent with making videos lately. Again, it's just that I don't play that much, and a lot of games I play are pretty shitty. So I don't really know. I don't really want to make crappy games into videos. But I will try to work on making more videos whenever I get the time. As usual, feedback is welcome, and yeah, other than that, just thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.